Christ!
Richard Curtis said, just make sure the boys fight. That was his one note about the first movie.
All right, Cleaver, outside.
Should I bring my dueling pistols or my sword?
So when it came to the sequel, he said, well, just remember, the boys have got to fight.
Would you step outside, please?
Oh, no, it's not possible.
I mean, the debate about having another fight sequence was whether it, you know, is going back to something everyone loves or whether it's just reheating old material. And in the end, we thought, well, as long as we can ramp it up a bit.
Now, you're going to step outside, or am I going to have to drag you?
The funny thing is Hugh and I have only ever really worked together in order to fight. I mean, on the first film, we have very little together except the fight. Here we are again, doing absolutely nothing except fighting again.
You're going to have to drag me.
What we all agreed was that it was going to be a namby-pamby fight.
Well, that's how we did the first fight. It's the whole key to trying to make it funny is to keep the stunt coordinator off the set. You know, because they're always wanting to say, now here, what you do is you give him a right hook, and Colin, you sell it. And, you know, actually, if you look at fights, you never see anyone fighting like that.
Going in the
We just showed up on that morning and started pulling each other's hair and scratching each other and complaining and falling over, kicking.
And quiet, please. Turn over. Speed. And action.
What image comes to my mind of two men fighting badly? That's one of them running. And so they would have a rather pathetic fight and then fall in the water. The rest they sorted out. I'd see something that they did in rehearsal. I said, can I have more of that and less of that? And off they'd go. But they are absolutely hilarious.
Now there.
Hugh complained all the time, bitterly, of course. I was hurting him, he had bruises that, you know. I think probably if we ever did do it again, I think I would advise him to get a bit of training first.
They absolutely diss each other about their sexual prowess, about their acting ability, about their intelligence, about their bodies.
Colin now has to spend even more time in the trailer, poor old boy, because he's, you know, he's losing it a little. I think he'd be the first to tell you that. He's gone a bit jowly, and the neck's gone a bit scrawny and all that.
Because I found that Hugh, because I did do the fight 3 years ago, and I think he was spending a bit of time paying attention to his body and his fitness at the time. It's remarkable the difference 3 years can make, really, because it was certainly easier for me because he was much fleshier and his contours were softer. It was actually it was more like wrestling my grandmother from that point of view.
In fact, the biggest problem we had in pre-production for this film was that Renee was not gaining enough weight and Colin was gaining too much. But they've done some very clever things, mainly with CGI.
Action! I'm doing it straight, Cleaver, and you're gonna pay for it. Ow! You're pulling my hair!
If there were 10 Bridget Jones films, there'd probably have to be a fight in each one between Hugh and myself. I don't think that can be seen as a rerun of something that happened before. I think that is just a perennial ritual between these two guys, that they will fight until they're 103 years old.
In those very rare occasions when you see a fight, it's an ugly, pathetic thing, and so we tried to keep it ugly and pathetic.
And I think every time we do it, it will always be a little bit more humiliating.